Friday, December 20th, 2019 is now called to order. We want to welcome our good friend, Pastor Greg Farrell from Crossland Community Church, who's here with us today to offer prayer. And I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for prayer and continue standing afterwards as Esquire Gorman will lead us in the pledge following.
Thank you, Judge. Join me as we pray. Heavenly Father, we need to pause on a day like this and just reflect as 19 comes to an end and 2020 awaits us. It's right there before us. It's always good to look to what is next, to have something to look forward to, something to cast a vision for, something to live our lives for, something to dig deep into. But before we get on to what's next, we have got to pause and stop, especially this time of year, and reflect on what has been passed. What happened in 19 has been an extremely difficult year for many, an unbelievably prosperous year for others, and for many just a year of mediocrity, a year of seeming trudging through the day-to-day details of living. But Father, we know that this year was created by you, for you, that we might live in a constant state of awareness that you are good, that you are great, and that your purposes rule and they reign. And in just a few days, we will celebrate the undeniable fact that you care so much that you came. That you did not come to judge, you came to redeem. You came to remind humanity that at their best and at their worst, when life is hard and when life is good, that you care deeply. And our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ did not come in power. He came vulnerably. He came into a manger to show the world what true power looks like. It's the power that I pray this court and all those who serve it, that this community and all those who love it will forever, ever remember. It's the power that's best demonstrated through the willingness to serve the least among us, to never leave anybody behind, that as the tide rises in the harbor, so should every boat that's in it. And so as this court moves into 2020, I pray you'd bless them for the work they did in 2019, for all the civil servants that are in this room who've dedicated their lives to serving the good of this community. One old sage once said, all politics is local. And if this nation could get a glimpse of politics at this local level, maybe they'd begin to understand what it's like to disagree without being disagreeable, to hold different opinions and yet hold on to one good common vision for the community. And so, Father, thank you for allowing us to be members of what is no doubt the greatest county in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We are blessed people to be here, and I pray that you would bless those who continue to lead it and lead it well. We love you and thank you. In Jesus' name we pray to you. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg.
Give me the names. Okay.
All right, please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Here.
Esquire McWhorter.
Here.
Esquire Lawrence.
Here.
Esquire Gorman.
Here.
Esquire Payne.
Here.
Esquire Young.
Okay. Need to approve the minutes of the fiscal court meeting of December 6, 2019. Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or question? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Need to approve the work schedule for the Warren County Road Department. Motion by Squire Payne, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the second and final reading of ordinance, approve personnel changes, approve the work schedule, approve the work personnel changes.
Motion.
Squire Lawrence, second. Squire Gorman, discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire
Yes,
McWhorter.
ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, before we get started into the rest of the agenda, first of all, I would like to call on Mr. Chris Comer with the Warren County Parks, and he has a presentation he'd like to show us and tell us about what we're getting ready to do in the parks.
Thanks so much. I've got my partner in design here, Daniel Whitley from Arnold Consulting and Engineering. Also have a lot of friends from local Kiwanis Club. And what we're wanting to do today is present a presentation on two different projects down at Fillmore Park. And at the end of the presentation, we would like to ask court, the members, to approve us to go ahead and move forward with putting together bidding documents with ACES. Also working with them to create the initial design pieces for a Kiwanis storage building at Fillmore Park, and then also a Parks and Recreation Department storage building at Fillmore Park as well. So we're going to kind of walk through this real quick. We've got 8 slides. As you all know, and as the Kiwanians know, really over the past 12 months, and we could almost say the last 12 years, if not longer, we've been working with them. As you know, they have a Kiwanis racetrack, soapbox derby track at Fillmore Park. It's a really unique feature at the facility. Basically took an old county road when they created the new Scottsville Road and made it into a soapbox derby track. And it's one of the, I believe it's the only one in the country that's really a dedicated soapbox derby track. So it's an amazing kind of component piece at Fillmore Park. It's utilized often, not just by Kiwanis, but by other racing groups. And so over the years, as you can imagine, the Kiwanians have gotten a large amount of race cars because we've got a lot of local kids through their soapbox derby program through Kiwanis that race yearly. And they also have other races throughout the year that they utilize the facility for. Because they've expanded and they have so many race cars now, they're all scattered throughout Warren County. All the soapbox derby cars are at different businesses, different storage locations, and they're not really congealed or at any one particular location. And so Kiwanis and us, we've been working over the past year and actually the past several years, and we've just been kind of waiting for the strategic time to do it, is to try to create a location to where we could add on to an existing feature and add them some storage space for their program and for their cars that they could use year-round to offer more and expansive services to the community in regards to allowing kids to be involved in the soapbox derby program. So what we've done is working with ACES and working with the Kiwanians, we've come up with a design where we would add on to the back northwest corner of Fillmore Park. You're looking at the back side of Fillmore Park, the parking lot's to the left. It would basically be a 960 square foot attachment to the back side of the gym. It would be brick so that we have a lot of weather issues at Fillmore Park in regards to the roofing. Backside of the backside of the facility is the weather side. So to kind of beef up this storage facility to make sure that we don't have any type of weather penetrations of any type of metal that we've had in the past, or the roof blowing off, which we've had in the past, we want to make sure that it's a secure feature. So we've created a 960 square foot facility which is attached to the back of the gym. It is right adjacent to our northwest emergency exit. That features the gym. We would include a canopy over that so that during the course of the year and the race season, as you can kind of see on the picture to the left, we would have a garage door there that would open up. It's secured. It'd be not a standard residential garage door. It'd be a little bit more secure, like what we have at our current gymnasiums with the roll-down metal doors that would make sure it's a nice secured feature. It would also tap into the existing HVAC that we have in the building to allow for that space to be temperature controlled. That way, with all the logos stickers and all the different fun features that the cars have. It would help prevent the vehicles from kind of warping out with time and with age and with environmental changes throughout the year. As you can see, the little person on the left, we would have that canopy there so that the racers and the Kiwanians could move their cars in and out throughout the year for build clinics. And then you can also see that it's attached to our existing sidewalk that gives them access for loading up their trailers at the sidewalk area. What you don't see in the picture is we've talked with Kiwanis within the last several days, and what we would probably do, looking at the picture on the right, we would extend that concrete pad out to where the tornado shelter main wall is to give them more concrete space, and we will probably make an additional garage door on the front of that building and extend out the awning. That way they can actually back up their trailers to load their cars directly from the facility, and then we would include a little bit of a driving space and add on to the sidewalk as not to mess with our pump station that's right there for our sewer, to be able to give them direct access to the parking lot area. So it would do several things. One, a secured location for all Soapbox Derby cars, give the Kiwanians in Soapbox Derby the ability to expand in the future. They would be responsible for creating the racks. We would make the space, and they would be in charge of kind of arranging the space to making sure that they have it set up the way that they want. They have agreed to help us with the maintenance of the actual racetrack over the next several years in regards to getting that repaved and resurfaced. And I think this is a good county investment that will protect this recreational opportunity for a lot of the younger citizens and older citizens alike that participate in Soapbox. And so as you look to the picture on the right, you'll also notice our park manager for Fillmore Park, Adam Carmen, is here. Adam and his staff did a wonderful job, but I think it was back in 2000 or 2003, it was the same year we opened the park. We've always had equipment outside. That equipment that's been outside includes our bush hog, our tractors. If you've ever been behind the playground and look at that fence line, it's kind of scattered. Not Adam's fault. It's just that we don't have enough space inside to store the equipment. Because of that equipment being stored outside, we've got several issues now with several pieces of equipment that have now had about 20 years of service, and in time here, within the next 4 to 5 years, will have to be replaced. To prevent and to hopefully keep our equipment more secure, especially with the new residential development directly behind the gym, with the new apartments and homes going up on the old Upton property. We're proposing that with the Kiwanis project, we add a 690 square foot, basically prefabricated barn storage building. It would allow us and give us the size needed to store our bigger pieces of equipment at Fillmore, the tractor, the bush hog, various other small implements and attachments for other pieces of equipment. And it would allow us to do that and have everything covered. If you've ever been down to Fillmore Park and you've seen our tractor outside, it's out there, rain, shine, snow, whatever it is, it's there, and that does take effect on equipment over the course of 20 years. So this would be to protect the current investment of taxpayer funds in county parks equipment and future investment that will be needed in the future. So that's kind of what we're proposing here, be a prefabricated metal structure with a very large garage door that would be a roll garage door to enable us to store our tractors and bigger pieces of equipment in there. What we're proposing, and this is just an estimation for the total project, what we would do is working through ACES, through the county contract for engineering design services that they have for 12 months. They would help us create the bid package. We would bid this out with your approval today, if given approval. That cost is on the next slide, which would be $15,000 to move forward with the bid packaging, getting it out to bid, getting the bids back in. It would basically be a design build project. If you have questions in regards to that, Daniel's here to help me out in regards to that. But the overall cost with just estimations, we're hoping that it would be a little bit less than this, but to create what we've just presented would be roughly about $277,000 in regards to these facilities as an estimated price. We have that broken down for each one of the features, including concrete cost, prefabricated metal cost, which you all have in front of you right now. So we would ask that your consideration in allowing us to approve the $15,000 piece to get the bid packaging together, actually get approval today to proceed with the bidding, and then hopefully within the next 30 days to 60 days we bring you back the bids, and at your will, do what the court decides in regards to moving forward with the projects. At this point in time, be more than happy to answer any and all questions, and really appreciate your time this morning. Also, the Kiwanians are with us. Their leadership and their Soapbox Derby Committee. If any one of you all would like to come up and say any words, we'd be more than happy to have you. Any questions?
Let me ask you this, Chris. I think I understand the project, and I think most of the magistrates do. There's been some discussion from time to time about it. I don't have an action item on here today, so the one thing that you're requesting today is authorization to proceed with the engineering. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Engineering Planning at $15,000?
Yes, sir. And because we've already got a contract for that, I didn't know if we would need to get formal approval because it was a pre-approved vendor request or a vendor item contractually with ACES. What we would be asking for today is getting approval to go ahead and advertise once those bid documents are put together to actually advertise it for bid.
Okay, do we have that contract? Do we have a contract proposal?
It's the proposal was actually set rates that Josh did for engineering architectural services
Right.
Through several different vendors. We've been using ACES for this project and several other projects, and they have had set hourly rates,
Right.
and so they're charging us.
Do you
for that.
think our office has a copy of the proposed contract?
I think it's this. Is it this?
Yes.
Oh,
No. Yeah.
Well, that's just the
The
presentation.
proposal for this project is there, but Josh Moore previously, through court, ran that through. I know that was sent out in an email. I think we have it at our office. I think you all have it in court records, what the pricing was at the set
We
rates.
do, okay, all right. So the motion that you would seek today would be to
Advertise.
advertise and to authorize the engineering, the $15,000 engineering fee, and to advertise bids once they're submitted, and to get authority for me to sign the engineering contract, right?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'll make the motion to spend the $15,000 to make this project move forward.
We have a motion from Squire Cummings, second by Squire Lawrence. Okay. Yeah, Amy was telling me we have a reduced version of this engineering contract here, small enough.
But you need your guys.
Well, it doesn't have to be this small for me not to be able to read it, but I really definitely can't read this.
So what it basically says, it is kind of small. I do
I
apologize.
understand.
Is,
I think I've seen this before in larger print, so I just.
And basically, the scope of service would be for the topographic survey. The site civil plans would include the site layout, grading and drainage, the BMP plans, the landscape plan, the site lighting plan, the state civil details, the permitting to the existing address, and then any drainage issues at the gym, and then helping us formulate the bid documents for advertising it out for bids. Then we would bring those bids back to you all once a date's set to open them. And then we would present that to court to see what direction you'd like us to move forward.
Okay. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Squire Cummings and a second by Squire Lawrence. Any questions or discussion? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. I have a couple of other things I'd like to move up if you, as a courtesy to keep the chamber and the ITA from having to pay a lawyer any longer than necessary. I'd like to move item number 14 up. That's to approve Resolution 1921 consenting to Intermodal Transportation Authority, Inc. sale of lot number 871 of Section 3 of the Kentucky Trimodal Transpark subdivision and partial cancellation of ground lease and lease related to said property. And Mr. Gaines Penn is here with us today to answer any questions that you all may have.
Good morning. As in the past, whenever the Intermodal Transportation Authority sells land, we come to the fiscal court to seek your all's consent as well as to release the county's leasehold interest in the particular land in question. Here we have just over 1.89 acres that one of our existing industries, Cannon Automotive Solutions, is seeking to purchase adjoining land to expand their facility. And so we have a contract that we've executed, and it's well in excess of the $25,000 minimum per acre price that is in part of the interlocal agreement. So we feel confident that this is a good agreement, and so we're asking your all's consent and for the authority for the judge to execute the partial release of the leasehold.
Okay. We have a motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Gaines. I appreciate it. A couple more items. Number 27, I'd like to move up. This is to approve the recommendation of the Warren County Solid Waste Committee regarding modification of the exclusive recycling franchise for Bowling Green and Warren County. And I know you all are well educated on what's going on here, but I'd like to ask either Josh or Stan to come forward and address any questions that the fiscal court may have. You'll see, I think, did each one of you get a news release that will be sent out? No?
Yes.
You did? All right. Stan?
Just want to explain what's going on with the recycling program, and Rob Rutherford and Chip Parnell are here today from Southern Recycling if you have any questions of them. But the recycling markets worldwide have been in the dumper, literally and figuratively. The plastics that's generated from all recycling programs is worth nothing, basically. There is a glut of plastics. There's a glut of paper products, mixed paper, because of the types of economy that we're running now. People buying lots and lots of stuff online with lots and lots of paper created. Glass is not worth anything either. So about all you're left with out of the recycling program, like we have, are tin cans and aluminum cans. And that's hard to get rid of, all of it is. So this has been something that's been going on at least a couple of years, where it's gotten beyond just breaking even for Southern Recycling. It's to the point that they're losing about 30 grand a month on the recycling program. That's just not sustainable. When you have to take something that needs to go to the landfill to someplace that's going to take it to the landfill, and instead of $47 a ton to tip it at the landfill, it has to be marketed for somewhere up past $120, maybe $190 a ton. So they have asked us to give them some relief from the recycling obligation that they have, which still is in force until July 31st of this year. As all of you magistrates may know, that we are in the process even now of formulating a new request for proposals for new franchisees for both solid waste and recycling. And we will address this in that RFP. That doesn't mean that we'll get someone who's interested in the materials or the program, but there's a good chance we will. I've vacillated back and forth with the RFP myself, watching what's happening with recycling, because it changes. But our Solid Waste Committee has looked at this, and what we're recommending is that the curbside recycling program, as far as the collection, transport, and disposal of the recycling from the curbside and the drop-off locations, that comes to an end March 31st of this year. Southern Recycling will allow residents to keep their containers if they'd like, or they will make arrangements to pick them up after that period. They also will be removing those large unmanned drop-off locations at least by that time. They will be reestablishing a unmanned drop-off bin at their facility on at 63 North Graham Street. And people can continue to bring those recyclables to that location even up till July 31st unless we replace it before then. But we feel that that's the best thing for them and overall for the situation we have now, and that we go forward just as soon as we can and get some information out to interested parties that might be willing to replace this program, as well as we'll have some modifications to our existing solid waste program. And we already know that Republic Services and Waste Connections, which are Monarch and Scott Waste to most of you all folks, they have recycling operations as part of their trash services in other counties, some surrounding us. So we know that the waste haulers are already vested in that type of operation, and that may be beneficial to us. So we're optimistic. We hate that this program, which has been a model for the state of Kentucky and other programs, is going to have to be set on the shelf. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And it's almost 25 years old.
It is almost 25 years old, and it's been very successful over the years, and we thank Southern Recycling for the great job they've done over the years. Chip, Rob, we wish that things were different, but certainly the global problems with recycling products, leaving basically only one product that has a market for it, really doesn't give you a great deal of hope for making this existing program work to everyone's benefit. So we appreciate it, and you're welcome to say anything to address the court if you'd like. But I think everyone understands that. I know that this is the recommendation by the Solid Waste Committee, and if any of you all would like to say anything further, if not, court would seek a motion to approve the
Judge, I'd like to say something.
recommendations of the Warren County Solid Waste Committee. Yes, sir.
You know, I do like recycling. I hate that we can't use those things that, and I just hate throwing those things in the trash, the glass and all that. Is there, I'm sure they've looked at this, but is there not a way, and I've talked to some of my constituents about this, is there not a way that they could just pick it up once a month? I think that's what Franklin, Simpson County does.
Logan does.
Okay. Is there not a way to, I mean, I understand losing money is not something that's anybody wants to do.
It's kind of like driving a different car to the store at midnight. The store's still going to be closed when you get there. And that's what we're having to experience with the commodities that we have. They're just not worth anything anymore to anybody right now.
So what makes you think that Republic or Monarch would take this over? Is there a chance they will?
They are a larger company. They have more outlets and things and probably access to larger markets. My expectation, honestly, is that we won't get anything that we would really be happy with. We may be without recycling for a year or more. Right now, the next 5 years don't look very good. But there are some optimistic things that are out there. There are about 17 new paper recycling facilities that are supposed to be on the table that are going to be possibly in operation within the next year, from what I've read. That would help on paper only. And most of our paper is, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, is marketed as mixed paper, which is basically an end-use paper. We call it toilet paper. That's what happens with it. There's other grades of paper that do better, white office paper, some of the corrugated cardboard, but we have another problem, and this is one of the big problems with the nationwide global recycling is the contamination level. You just can't put pizza boxes in recycling and expect them to get recycled because they've got grease and food on them. plastic film. There's all kinds of contaminants, and that's why China basically shut all the U.S. stuff out back in 2017 and really closed the gate January in 2018. The national sword policy that they instituted. I've heard stories, read articles about companies which send a whole shipping container overseas, and they open it at Chinese ports, see one item of contamination, close the door, send it back to the U.S. at your expense. And it's just impenetrable at this point. And it's not anything related to the situation with the tariffs and the president and all that. This is a completely different thing.
Judge, I'd like us to say one thing. Every community in America either should be or is having this discussion. And if they're not having it, they've got their head in the sand. There is zero market, zero, for everything but aluminum cans. And while it pains everyone to say, I recycle everything, and while it pains people to say it, it's the same thing. Once a month, if some community says, well, we're really doing it, the dirty little secret is there are communities in this country that are recycling because the constituents say we want to recycle, and they're taking that recycling to the landfill, which is also unacceptable, but it's what's going to happen. But unfortunately, until things change. So Stan and the rest of the committee, Ron, we've also got Doc Kalin, former 1st District Magistrate, is on that committee as well, helping with this next, the solid waste bid that's going to come out at the end of June, that RFP. There might be some options, but as of today, there are no viable options, none for the community. And I really don't think, well, we can recycle to make sure that a private business, because again, I don't think it's definitely not in our best interest to ensure that a private business loses money. That'll never work. But to say this will work by saying, well, we can recycle, it's only $20 per month, up from $265. Those are our options. Right now, those are the only options, and that's not an option for me and not for the rest of the committee, and I don't think it's for anyone here. And so it's a tough thing, but again, every community in the country needs to be having this discussion because there is no market for these products.
And this has already happened in the state of Kentucky, the city of Lexington, which has a municipal recycling facility. They actually shut down all of their paper collections earlier this year, which shut down about 20 surrounding counties, including the Commonwealth of Kentucky. All their paper was going to that location. They had a consultant come in and give them some options. They're doing, they've gone back and they're doing some more of that, but they have actually changed a lot. We're lucky that we do not have a municipal facility that we have to support with tax dollars and keep employees busy, doing busy work. This actually will be something that we can kind of almost step back from and look at with fresh eyes. It's kind of a disadvantage for us when something like this happens because we don't have that investment in it. But I think the way we've done this for 25 years, we can't say that we made a mistake in doing it that way.
Stan, you said that Lexington shut down the paper. What about the cans? Metal?
Of course, you're talking about a much, much larger volume of material, especially coming from 20 counties. They have sorters and balers and things like that. They don't have to take it somewhere else and get sorted up, so they can actually be a little more profitable than us on that. But that's what they do. Now, Danny Baston, who is my counterpart over in Pulaski County, he has 30,000 square feet under roof and about 30 employees, and he's more geographically centered on the east side of the state between Tennessee and northern Kentucky. He has a better chance to market materials even than we do here. And that's his full-time job, that's all he does. But he can take that 30,000 square foot area facility and he can bale stuff and just stack it and wait for the market to improve. I don't think he's going to be able to hold it very long. But he's keeping his head above water, he says.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue to monitor the markets. We're going to continue to communicate with our potential with our other solid waste franchisees and anyone else who's interested, and we're going to continue to look into alternatives to see if there is a viable, sustainable alternative for Warren County. Doc Kalen's been on this committee since the beginning, since we first went into the solid waste and recycling business, and he's in total agreed. He totally agrees with what we're doing. He's served on this committee and has been a big supporter of it all these years. But he understands when there isn't a market, and there isn't one right now, and there's no way for Southern Recycling to sustain without losing a fortune every single month. So
I'm just trying to look at this as a,
we're going to keep on looking, and I encourage you to continue to work with Stan and his staff directly, and look for every alternative, because we're not shutting the door. We're just saying we've got to back up and press restart here. So do I have a motion to approve Squire Cummings, second Squire Gorman? Any further discussion or questions on this? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And one thing to point out, Southern Recycling does still maintain the franchise with us until July 31st.
Right.
They still have to, they're still obligated if we get sued over recycling for some reason, they still have to indemnify us. They still are actually going to be paying the county the revenue franchise fees, which is about $3,600 a month through the end of July as part of this. So we will still continue to get that. Hopefully, we'll be able to replace that somehow, either through our new solid waste programs.
Thank you, Stan. Thanks for all your work on this. And thanks to all the other members, Doc, and everyone else on the committee. We appreciate it. Okay. Okay. One other thing I'd like to move on to another topic here, and insert an agenda item with your approval. I'd like to recognize Matthew McCarley, who's here with us, who's flown up this morning from Dallas, and he's with Fears Nowati, Notawati, okay. Fears Notawati Law Firm, and also Lee Coleman with Hughes and Coleman, to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at in hiring them and the various law firms through Lee Coleman. And I want to get authority today for the county attorney to review the contracts, and authority for the county judge executive to sign the contracts to enter into the opioid litigation that you all have heard about at every single meeting throughout the last few years. And I'm going to give Matthew an opportunity to address the court and kind of give you the highlights.
Thank you, Judge, magistrates, citizens of Warren County. Thank you for having us here today. We're here to urge the county to become involved in the opioid litigation. As everyone here knows, this is an epidemic that has afflicted the country as a whole, but Kentucky has been specifically hit hard by this epidemic. And I don't want to rehash all the origins of the epidemic and the history of it. I think that most people are well aware, although if you have a question about it, I will be happy to answer that. Just want to simply say that we believe that there is no downside for the county to become involved in this litigation, and that we represent, we have 4 firms that have joined together. One of our firms, Motley Rice, Joe Rice is the co-lead counsel in this litigation. We believe that the county would be well served by hiring our group of law firms in any potential settlement that comes out of this. Now, there is not a settlement on the table yet, but there are settlement negotiations that have begun, and we believe this is the time for the county to become involved in it. So I don't know if the magistrates or judge, you have any questions, but we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have with regards to the litigation, to our firm, anything involved in the opioid epidemic. We're happy to answer it.
Well, I think that all of the magistrates are pretty well versed in all the problems throughout Kentucky and Warren County. But one of the points that I wanted to make sure that everyone understands is that your all's percentage, or the law firm's percentage, is 100% up to you all to earn, because it's there's no exposure, no financial exposure to Warren County.
Right.
Very important. Your all's commission is 25% or lower, depending on the amount of the award. And I think that I'm very interested for the first time. I've always heard from the magistrates that they're interested in pursuing this, because they've heard so much about it over the last few years. Squire Gorman, you had something?
I appreciate you all's coming here, but I'd just like to make a motion if I could.
Okay, we have a motion by Squire Gorman.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the judge executive authority to sign a contract with Fears Nakawati out of Dallas, Ferret Poirot out of Dallas, Motley Rice out of D.C., and of course Hughes and Coleman out of Bowling Green, after a review of those contracts and approval by our county attorney.
Okay. Is there one other firm that's?
That's it, Judge.
That's it? Okay.
Jeez, oh Pete, how many more can we have?
Well, these are multi-billion-dollar corporations, so we've teamed up in order to take them on. So.
Okay. We have a second by Squire Lawrence. Do we have any further questions or discussion? Mr. Coleman, thank you for bringing
Just for
Mr. McCarley with you.
clarification, our firm will be involved with Warren County. Their consortium represents 100 or so governmental entities. The only one we'll be representing would be on this, helping them with Warren County.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We have any other comments that you'd like to? That's it.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for coming up on such short notice. I appreciate both of you being here and helping us to understand it. And Mr. Coleman, if you, I guess you or Mr. McCarley, one will be with, get in touch with Amy. Okay. Okay. Thank you again. Okay. Next item, number 7, is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1951, authorizing a lighting agreement between Warren Rural Electric Cooperative Corporation and Weatherstone Phase 2. Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 8 is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1952, rezoning property at the corner of Scottsville Road, Mount Lebanon Road, and Alton Road from agriculture to general business, containing approximately .7027 acres and presently owned by L.S. Jr. and Sheila Cherry with, I apologize again if I get this wrong, Bapachandra Patel as contract vendee. Motion, Squire Cummings, second, Squire McWhorter. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Patel. I appreciate you being here again. Okay, item number 9 is to approve second and final reading of ordinance 1953, rezoning property at 394 Cleveland Drive from agriculture to residential estate containing approximately 5.105 acres and presently owned by Michael and Sarah Cows. Motion by Squire Payne, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the termination, the amount of $11,244.31 to Right Implement, Right Implement 1 LLC for a replacement mower at Buchanan Park. And this is Sourcewell pricing contract.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings. Esquire
Yes, ma'am.
McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve easement for school bus turnaround at 599 and 600 Tommy Smith Road.
So moved.
Motion by Squire Payne, second. Squire Lawrence, discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this means anything, but this easement actually says 500-600.
599, 600.
Well, no, this says 500-600. I don't know if that means anything.
Which is correct.
I don't know, let me see the easement. Oh, no, the easement, it's,
Easement, okay.
Do you need it?
please.
Well, on the easement, you have 500-600. On the agenda, it's 599.
Okay, should be 500, 600.
Okay. It stands corrected that it is 500, 600 Tommy Smith Road. Who made the motion in the second?
Payne and Lawrence.
Okay, is that satisfactory with both of you all? Okay. Okay. Next item is to approve the 2020 budget for the Warren County Clerk's Office. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, it is all good in the clerk's office. We'll see here in a few minutes to make sure that it is all good. But I do come before you again this year asking that respectfully you approve our budget for 2020. As always, we will act in our office as fiscally responsible, and I hope again that you say yes to Yates. I did this for you.
I know you did.
Doug, this is all for you. Every time that closing remark is with your intent. So,
I'll make a motion, we approve the budget.
Motion by Squire McWhorter to approve the clerk's budget, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire
Yes, ma'am.
Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Yes, ma'am.
thank you very much.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Lorraine. And next, we need to approve the 2020 budget for the Warren County Clerk's Office. Excuse me, the Warren County Sheriff's Office. Warren County Sheriff's Office.
What she said, Major. She did a very good job. No, I come once again to respectfully request, and I believe you all have all the numbers there in front of you, and I've spoken to several of you all, if not all of you all, specifically about our budget, what we're trying to do, and what this budget will continue to increase our efficiency on a lot of different levels, so greatly appreciate that.
Make a motion, we approve the sheriff's budget.
We have a motion by Squire McWhorter to approve the sheriff's budget as submitted, and second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions?
I have one, just because
Yes.
I was a magistrate last year, just curious, how much reflective difference was this versus 2019?
This is a $98,000 increase in request for fiscal court assistance from last year. Largely, this was due to the cost of living increase that we gave, and what we did is we actually took out and reduced several of our line items, and so our operating costs were decreased by $86,000 to help offset this. So we have been very, very diligent this past year of reducing our overtime expenditure, and so we reduced that line item by $5,000 per month on that, and I believe that we can actually get that down a little bit further. I talked to Greg about this about a month ago with some things we're working on. But I didn't want to decrease that more right now, particularly with the increase in the folks that we have at the academy right now. We're not sure exactly how that'll balance out, and also with all the LS Fest events this upcoming year, we know we're going to have a pretty much increased presence at all those. And we get requests every day from a lot of our just different folks in the community, our schools and all that, a lot of that overtime expenditure, although it comes out of this, it ends up coming back to you all because we get reimbursement through the school system for a lot of the games and everything that we work. So a lot of that will come back as well. So that help?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other questions?
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Payne.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next item is to approve determination in the amount of $1,695 to NACO Professional Development Academy for registration of public works staff for leadership training. This is paid for through stormwater management, single source.
So moved.
Motion by Squire Gorman, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion or questions? Let's call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next item is to approve termination in the amount of $14,140.75 to Carpet Place of Bowling Green for replacement of lobby, halls, meeting room, and kitchen floors at Moore Park. There were 3 quotes listed, and this was the lowest and best quote.
So moved.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or questions?
Just, are we going back with the same material? I mean, basically going back with the VCT tile, or are we changing material types?
No, so it's going to be a different type. It's going to be more of a laminate design, similar to what you see at the new gyms as you walk in on top of the concrete. It will actually, the tiles will be taken up because they're in such bad shape, and then this will be placed in and replace that.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire
Yes,
McWhorter.
ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. Next item is to approve termination in the amount of $1,091.32 to Ryder Truck Service for a rental truck for election purposes only for Warren County Clerk's Office. This is single source.
So moved.
Motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the proposal from Compliant Technologies LLC in the amount of $4,064.85 for the purchase of 3 sets of gloves and 2 E-bands for the Warren County Regional Jail. The gloves stand for generated low output voltage emitter. And Jailer Harmon's going to explain all this to us.
Actually, Brenda's the one that actually found this and got it to us and put it on here and convinced me to buy these. Brenda Hale did. But we saw this at one of the conferences we're at. There's about 25 jails in Kentucky that use these. It's another option that's less intrusive when you do have to use force with an inmate. And it's going to help improve the safety of our staff when we're moving people that are high risk. And it's a device you put on like a glove, and it's similar to a taser, but not made by that company. And so it gives us another option, specifically with the teams that do the transport down to Nashville every day. So since they're outside the building, that gives them yet one more tool to use. And then the E-bands would be something that we may use within the facility, and then outside high-risk like medical appointments and ER trips. That's something that goes on under the uniform, and it has a remote. So it's less intrusive than using a taser, but it gives us yet another option in our use of force continuum. So this also, I don't think I put on my request to Brenda, this will be paid for out of the Securus Capital Improvement Grant. It won't actually be out of the general fund.
Any questions? We have a motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion or question? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire
Yes,
McWhorter.
ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence. Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next item is to approve the transfers of $302,709.03 from a historical inmate account to the jail canteen fund. This money was from the time period of 2003 to 2016.
So 2003 was the year that the facility became a no-cash facility, meaning anybody that came into custody that had money, it went on their account and was put into this bank account. I've worked with Amy's office to get the correct affidavits completed. These are monies that probably over tens of thousands of bookings over those years, maybe more than that. It might be 50 cents here, it might be $1.75 here. All of those attempts to locate those inmates, to return those checks that we sent out and make those phone calls and attempt over that period of time to return the money have all been exhausted. And so this particular KRS allows us to take that, as long as we've exhausted all of our efforts, it allows us the ability to put that into the canteen fund to use to benefit the inmate or now even enhance safety and security of the facility. So it's a large amount due to the amount of time. Obviously, we'll be doing that on a much more regular basis now, but we're trying to clean up this older historical account. And so that's the reason that the amount is high, but it will be used to enhance security in the facility.
Amy, we're good with all this on a legal standpoint?
So the statute requires that they send a check to any inmate that's released after all the fees are deducted. Once that money is deducted, there's most of the time there's not any money left.
Right,
But
very
sometimes there will be $1, $5. They have to send the check to the individual. Once the check is returned due to a bad address, unable to pick up, unable to locate, they have to make a phone call to that individual. We have affidavits from the previous Chief Deputy of Administration stating that they did that in every case as a matter of course. The new Chief Deputy of Administration also said once that Chief Deputy retired, she resumed those duties and continued to do that. After doing that, you have to wait a period of 1 year. This is just something that Stephen's just now being able to bring to the court. He had to verify that all these steps were in place prior to his taking over in 2017. Yeah. So he's just now getting all this together. In the future, it will not be anywhere near this amount. I mean, this is from
It's a 13-year
20
period.
years. Yeah, I was going to say 20 years, but 13-year period. So it's over a long
So we're
time. But he has absolutely followed every statutory requirement.
And that will go into your canteen fund account?
Yes.
That won't go back into the national jail account, it'll go into your specific
Correct.
improvement
That's
account?
what the statute says.
The statute requires that it goes into the canteen account.
Well, I'll make the
benefit
motion
prisoners.
then.
Okay, we have a motion by Squire Cummings,
Okay.
Second by Squire McWhorter.
Okay.
Any questions? Let's call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 20 is to approve emergency determination in the amount of $1,190 to Gunter Roofing for repair to the Buchanan Park Complex.
Motion.
Motion by Squire Lawrence, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire
Yes,
Lawrence.
ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next item is to approve the county's local TIF payment to the Warren County Downtown Economic Development Authority in the amount of $44,743. This is pursuant to KRS Chapter 65 and KRS 15430, and the local participation agreement between the City of Bowling Green and Warren County and the county's state TIF received for 2018 was $1,092,220.98, up from
717.
what? $717,000?
Yes. Not 7. I say if it was up from, y'all done something great last year, if it was up that much, but.
Yeah, it was great the year before last. It's amazing how this all, it sounds like a lot of money. It's held over though from 2 years.
Motion.
We have a motion by Squire Cummings and a second by Squire McWhorter. Any questions or anything to add to that, Squire Gorman?
Well, thank you, Judge. I'll just say very quickly, the one thing that's very important is the payroll, withholding the amount of payroll that's being generated in the TIF right now is over $100 million. And so what that whole program was really about was not just capital construction, which has been $325 million of development, but also about jobs. And so it's really increased that. And so that's the 2018 check. The total TIF check to the citizens of Warren County was $3.7 million, up from $3.3 the year before, and we'll go over $4 million for 2019, the year we're just finishing right now. We'll find those numbers out next year, but it'll be over $4 million. And there's 19 years left, and so people can do the math. There's still another $100 or so million coming back to the community for the investment, and I'll say it, and I've said it before, just thank especially Judge Buchanan for his leadership on overseeing this entire project. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other compliments would be better. Okay.
That
Compliments you too, that is.
All right, please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve emergency determination in the amount of $5,605.25 to Windstream for repairs to the fiber optic line that was accidentally cut by the Warren County Road Department.
So,
Motion by Squire Gorman, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion, questions?
Shocked that there's a fiber optic line on Carl Road Road.
well, we put that in before you got here, Ron.
They're around everywhere, it seems like.
I just shocked it went out there.
But it's what's amazing is that we don't accidentally cut into one more often. But I'm glad we do not. The fiber optic lines could exceed that tenfold if you hit the wrong one. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
ma'am.
Esquire Lawrence.
ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve interfund transfers for Warren County.
So moved.
Motion by Squire Gorman, second by Squire Lawrence. Discussion, questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is to approve the 48-month lease agreement with Schellers Fitness and Cycling in the amount of $22,770.14 for the term of the lease for fitness equipment for the senior center at White Park. There were 3 vendors solicited. This was the only one with lease terms. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire McWhorter. Discussion or questions?
Hey, Greg, would this be that we paid all that up front, or we would pay a monthly amount to them for the total duration of the $22,000?
Go ahead, Chris.
We pay monthly in regards to that, so we build monthly just like we are for our First Aid Centos.
So I just want to make sure we're not outlaying $22,000 up front, but it'll be just monthly.
No, it's over the term of the lease. Yeah. But they also have a really good maintenance program, and it includes all belt replacements on treadmills, elliptical machines, things like that.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item, number 25, is to approve the transfer of 2 minibuses from Sandy Valley Transportation Services to the Warren County Regional Jail. These vehicles will be used for transportation of inmates on the freed inmate work release program.
These 2 buses were found by Bobby Stillman and her team at the career team, the Kentucky Career Center. All we had to do is go get them. They're in pretty good shape. They're high mileage. One's diesel, one's not. One's handicap accessible. So we're going to get them checked out, make sure before we spend any money on them, make sure there's nothing wrong mechanically. But we drove them the 4 hours home. They were given to us, and so we're excited to have them. That will help us as we grow that program. Potentially, we could have 60 or 80 people out to work, and we're responsible for transportation. So that'll be a big hand up, and it's more money we don't have to lease, which makes Greg happy, and so they were 0 cost to us.
Okay.
We have to approve this?
Pardon me?
We have to approve free?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Squire McWhorter, second by Squire Cummings. Discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
Does everyone understand the freed program? Regarding workforce development and getting the inmates ready for
Reentry.
gainful employment. Did a great job, Stephen. Thank you on that. Okay, the next item is to approve first reading of ordinance 1954 establishing Allen Michael Lane, Allen Michael Court, and Aiden Court located in Serenity Estates subdivision as county roads and authorizing maintenance thereon and setting speed limits thereon. Motion by Squire Cummings, second by Squire Gorman. Discussion, questions?
Josh, all these roads are in good shape. I know it's been a subdivision that's been out there for a little while. I guess they meet all requirements, all standards, and, because that's been out there for,
Yeah, it's been there, streets have been finished for about a year or so. It's been a bunch of items. Some of it's paperwork, some of it was fixing a couple spots that weren't right. And so planning and zoning and their staff have met with Jerry, and they did a ride through, and everything is good. And we're just following this up to get a bond released on their construction contract.
good.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The next item would be to present the claims to the court. Mr. Treasurer?
General Fund, $847,606. Road Fund, $26,204. Jail Fund, $149,962. Stormwater Fund, $80,369. And E911 Fund, $24,019. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion by Squire Cummings to approve the claims as submitted, and second by Squire McWhorter. Further discussion or questions? Please call the roll.
Esquire Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire McWhorter.
Yes.
Esquire Lawrence.
Yes, ma'am.
Esquire Gorman.
Abstain.
Okay. Sheriff Hightower, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. I
just have one quick comment, and I know you all probably realize this, but the fire that we had here recently that was in the city at the country club, I went out there that evening after, we talked and went out there, and it really was just amazing to watch our volunteer fire agencies work in concert with Bowling Green Police Fire and what they did out there. I mean, it really was, it's eye-opening. I mean, I've seen fire work a lot, but that particular night when they're bringing in these trucks to dump the water in these pools of water to try to assist them, it really was awesome. Our volunteer firemen do a phenomenal job here for our county on multiple levels, and so I just want to recognize them.
They surely do, and I know that the Bowling Green City Police were very City Fire Department was very thankful to have them there with them that night.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Yates?
Thank you, Judge.
Jailer Harmon?
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Comer?
We got to spread a little bit of Christmas cheer.
All right.
So I've got three fellow team players here. I've got Adam Carmen, our park manager from Fillmore Park. I've got Laney Jones, our athletic supervisor, and then Lisa Clary, our Michael Buchanan Park gym manager. And they had a team of elves that helped them, but this is the first time through a discussion with the staff, we're looking for new ways to generate team building within our department. And these three individuals were part of a team of people that created the first ever Warren County Parks and Recreation Department float for the Christmas parade in Bowling Green. They participated in Smiths Grove, and they also participated in the Woodburn City Christmas Parade. So I'd like for them to stand up. Because if you haven't seen our float, we're hoping that in the next couple years we can get into with Macy's, but they actually won second place in the Woodburn City Christmas Parade, and so I'm really proud of them. It was a great team building thing. We also coordinated with our local leagues. Laney Jones did a great job of getting with the leagues. We had league kids out there with us on the float, and it was tons of fun. So look for them at the Macy's Parade sometime in the next 10 to 12 years.
We appreciate it very much. Truly, we do appreciate it. I know that it comes across well to the community, not only when they see how much detail is on the float, but the fact that there's so much passion in your job and for the community that you go that extra effort to get that done. It means a lot to everybody. Thank you. Mr. Moore. Mr. Young. Merry Christmas, sir. Mr. Pearson cannot be with us. Tim, are you? Mr. Brandstetter.
Thank you, Judge. Merry Christmas all.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Mr. Appling is not with us today. Okay. Mr. Peterson. Ms. Alexiff got the dates mixed up, and she was really busy with other appointments today, so which is a good thing. She couldn't be here. Mr. Markram.
Thank you, Judge. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, sir. Chief Hamilton.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Sheriff, for the camera as well.
It was very impressive to see all. And I'm not sure which departments responded that night.
Initially, it was altitude, and then got, and then Plano sent one tanker to assist. A lot of the distance behind the scenes, making sure that area was covered behind, beyond those three departments.
Yeah.
Those are the initial three.
You guys did a remarkable job, and I know that Chief Colson really appreciated it a great deal, and we all appreciate the great job you guys are doing, and responses like what you had the other night out on I-65 are a true test to all of the firefighters, and that's one of those things you hope you never have to go through. But we appreciate you all being there to make sure it was all that stuff had to be done, and you all were the right people to get it done. Thank you. Squire McWhorter.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Squire Cummings?
I just wanted to get acknowledged that I told you last meeting that the gauntlet was thrown down on attire for festive holiday figures. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to be acknowledged that I win. And,
I think it should be acknowledged by Squire Gorman that you win.
okay,
No question.
I just want to make sure that's on the record that that I told you last meeting that I would step my game up, and glad to be here.
You surely did.
Well, I also want to thank Chief Hamilton. You had a fire last night. That was the response time and how y'all handled that fire out there last night was amazing. Great work, and continue to do what you do. And I just really want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a joyous holiday, and enjoy your family, and looking forward to 2020.
Squire Lawrence?
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I just thought for sure that Ron was going to pull a baked salmon out from underneath that jacket over there, but it just didn't happen.
All right, surely you have something to say about this, Squire Gorman?
Well, Squire Cummings, I mean, you did win today. Now, it's like being classified as the tallest midget, so congratulations. But you do look good. I would like to, in the spirit of Christmas, thank Jailer Harmon for his hard work. Actually, a fire and safety equipment downtown is been very beneficial, a part of the Freed program. We've got a young man that's working for us who is turning his life around. It's going to be a great thing. But the classes he's been able to take at the jail and the things that he's doing, and he works with us and spends the night with Stephen. But he's done that, and hopefully will be out sometime next year. But he's proof positive of the great work that Steve and his staff is doing to not just have them a place to sleep at the evenings, but also trying to change the trajectory of their lives. And I do appreciate that in all sincerity, Stephen. So if you can keep those gloves we just bought off of them, be great. But I do appreciate the hard work you're doing. So I wanted to say that. And also wanted to wish all the citizens of Warren County a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And it's a great honor, I know, for all of us here, but it's a great honor for us to work here. But most importantly, I want to appreciate Greg and Amy, Brenda, Marie, Judge, even yourself, but all of our department heads for the hard work that they do, and all the employees of Warren County. So I just wish all of them the merriest of Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Doug. Ms. Milliken?
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Mr. Burrow?
Thanks, Judge.
Ms. Smith?
I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Our next fiscal court meeting is Friday, January 10th, 2020. And between now and then, we have Christmas and New Year's, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I appreciate the working relationship we all have together. Thank you. Pleasure to be serving with all of you all. We have a motion to adjourn. Squire Cummings, second Squire